guys, and welcome to Petrol and welcome to a very special Nissan GTR. Now, a few months ago I got contacted by one of my subscribers, a very cool guy called Paul, who said, look, I've just bought a brand new 2017 Nissan GTR. It's about to go to Litchfield to be breathed on, but when I get it back, would you like to come and drive it? And I'm like, yeah. So here she is. Now, I will give you some more detail as we go through, but the headline figure for this car is has a stage 4 Litchfield tune, and it's kicking out 675 bhp and 600 foot-pounds of torque. I have a feeling today is going to be rather special. So let's start this review underneath the bonnet. Before I start, actually, I just need to say I know that there are a huge amount of you out there that will be massive experts on all things Nissan GTR, far more than me. So if I get anything wrong in this video, please forgive me, just put some kind comments down below. So this car's had a stage 4 Litchfield tune, and basically what that includes is the following. Firstly, to improve breathing and fuel supply, the Stage 4 kit features a Litchfield large bore performance intake kit and larger 1100cc injectors to ensure the engine receives the correct amount of fuel and air, as well as a Miltec Y-pipe and improved boost control with adjustable boost using the cruise control buttons on the steering wheel. The upgrade also includes revised ignition control, variable valve timing and fuel maps. Power is increased to 640 bhp at 7,065 RPM and torque to 583 foot-pounds at 4,140 RPM, although the dyno results for this car are even better than that at 675 bhp and 600 foot-pounds. Other mods in the Stage 4 kit are Litchfield Race ROM switchable maps for different fuel octane ratings and a Litchfield custom launch control setting. In addition to the Stage 4 kit, Paul has also opted for the Akrapovic Evolution exhaust system with carbon tips. So as you can see, an extensive amount of mods. The other thing this car has is the most stunning looking Akrapovic exhaust system, and I cannot wait to hear what that sounds like once we get going. So next thing is let's head inside, because one of the things I'm really interested to have a look at in this latest version of GTR is the improvements in the interior cabin, because it's quite different from the GTR I've driven before. If you watch my channel, you know that last year I got to drive Ant from Gas King's GTR Lucille, and I think this car inside is going to look quite different from that one. Okay, so I've jumped inside the car because it's really cold out there. It must be said, it's cold and windy today. Now, the first impression of this car, when you jump in from an interior point of view, is it's just a step change in quality and premium feel from the previous generations of Nissan GTR. So I think for me that's what let the car down a little bit. We all know that they are ultimate mega drivers cars. They are phenomenal track weapons, absolute beasts of cars, but the interior for me has always let them down a little bit. In here, that's just not the case anymore. It's been spec'd beautifully. I know, talking to Paul about what he wanted when he spec'd the car, was he kind of wanted it from the outside to look as, I guess, as subtle as a Nissan GTR can be. It's got this beautiful frost white paintwork, black wheels. I guess the only cues that you would have if you looked at the car closely would be the carbon tips on the exhaust, that beautiful Akrapovic exhaust system, which I can't wait to hear, by the way. It does have upgraded discs and pads. That was part of the Litchfield upgrade, but in here it's just beautiful. There's leather everywhere, leather on the dash, beautiful red detailed stitching, and these Recaro sport seats are, they look cool, but they're very comfortable. And then there's an awful lot of carbon inspecting here as well. And there's a beautiful carbon behind the instruments on the instrument binnacle, and on this centre console, this beautiful satin carbon finish here. I just think it looks great in here, and it really does kind of take it a step change from GTRs of the past. And the steering wheel, I just think that looks fantastic. This centre boss on the steering wheel is absolutely lovely. So I think the next thing we need to do is get some cameras set up and take this car out on the road, because I have a feeling it's going to be monstrous. By far and away the most powerful car I will have driven to date, and I can't wait to get driving, so let's go. Well, here we are then, behind the wheel of this absolute monster of a car, getting warm for a change. When you start this car, it has the most lovely, deep, reverberating throb, but it is actually quite menacing as well, because you know just how powerful the car is. Now, I have the owner, Paul, sat to my left. He's not going to go on camera, but he is going to make sure that I'm going to look after his baby, and I have to say I am approaching this car with a massive amount of respect. The road surface today is damp, there's mud and the normal kind of winter crap on the roads, and I'm not particularly wanting to get this car that dirty or get into some traction issues. Steering feels very light. We've literally only been going a few minutes, but the throttle, I understand that if you start dipping that too hard, we're going to have some very exciting things happen. I'm in just full automatic at the moment. I will go into the manual box and use the paddles, but at the moment I just want to get used to the car, get used to what's under my right foot, but so far so good. So now we're out on a bit more open road. The character of this car starting to come through a little bit. It has a really nice feeling to the steering, but I have to say I'm probably as intimidated driving this car as any car I've been in, because I just know how fast it's going to be, and I'm not going to be able to tap into a fraction of that performance today on the public road. You know, for a car with this amount of power and performance, you really need to be on an airfield or on a motor circuit, but it just sounds brilliant. So if you're familiar with a GTR, you've got 3 master controls just in front of the gear selector, where you can change the sharpness of the gear change. You've got the comfort ride, or how firm the suspension is, and then you've also got the traction control settings. Now we've got at the moment set in the kind of comfort suspension. It's pretty firm, to be fair, but it's still soaking up the bumps nicely. But I just cannot get over how this car sounds. We've just gone through a town and just sort of, a tick over. It just sounds awesome. And oh yeah. So that was probably about 5% throttle travel, and you've got an instant kick in the back. I can tell you now, the chances of me actually depressing the throttle fully in this review are 0. Not on a day like today, but it's just so responsive and so there. Okay, so when you get beyond about 3,500 RPM in this car, special things happen. Turbos spool up. Yeah, and that was again about 20% throttle travel. Wow, you could feel it. You could feel it searching for grip there. I'm only accelerating onto the dual carriageway. Tunnel. Tunnel, to be fair. Yeah, it sounds good in a tunnel. performance you get from this car, I'm going to put it back in auto for a moment while I just take, the performance you get in this car at half throttle would absolutely destroy most cars I've ever driven. It's unbelievable. You just you'd have to get this car on a big long piece of airfield to really open the taps, where there's no police, there's no speed limits, there's no worries about, you know, doing things and getting caught and losing your license, because this thing is fast on another level. So firm suspension setup, but it's dealing with this very bumpy B road. This gearbox is super slick, really speedy changes both up and down. I'm not able to tap into half this car's performance on a road like this, but it just sounds absolutely brilliant. You just want to play with that exhaust note, just changing up and down. Oh yes, yes indeed. I think this could rapidly become my favourite car. It's just brilliant. I have to say that my heart is racing 10 to the dozen. It's a properly scary car to drive, but it's just ace. Now we're on a bit of open road, very wet tarmac unfortunately because the weather's come in. But to some extent this car has so much grip. I'm in the manual box. This gear change is super smooth and it just sounds ace. And a kind of car comes into its own and it just has a lovely feeling to it. Oh yes. This is a hugely quick car, and that gearbox is just on it. Oh, I want one. Paul, you can't have your car back, mate. Oh, and we've come across the local hunt. This is a cracking bit of road, this. It's reasonably open, that. Oh my goodness. Now, I've made the executive decision. So that is a third throttle, maybe half throttle. I'm nowhere near pushing this car, and I'm certainly not going to start playing with the different driving modes and turning traction control off and those types of things. It's just far too wet today to do that. But it's just so responsive. You get this car up above about 3,000 RPM and it is an absolute monster. You come out the corners, the four-wheel drive, you've got plenty of grip, but you've just got so much power that it's difficult to deploy all that power, and the road surface today is so wet and so horrible. In some respects it's a bit gutting really, because you'd want to drive this car in a lovely, perfectly wet, dry day rather, but it's just a weapon, and I love it to bits. And Paul's been very good sat next to me. He's not making any noises. He's grabbing on quite hard. But yeah, you know, most car reviews I will get full throttle, and I haven't got anywhere near full throttle in this car. What a bit of road this is though. Horrendous weather conditions. Yeah, I love this car. Oh man, what a weapon. What a weapon. Steering feel is just delicious. It's absolutely stunning. So guys, what are my final impressions of this car as we head back to Paul's place, because the weather's really taken a turn for the worse. Look, I have probably pushed this car to within a fraction of what it's capable of, although interestingly in that last little bit, Paul did say that was probably quicker than he's taken it so far. It's so new. It's done less than 1,500 miles. So it had to do 1,000 miles of running before Litchfield would touch it anyway, and it's only just been done. This is the soonest after Litchfield had played with it that we could organise to do the video, so it's still got some bedding in. But it's a phenomenal car. I think the upgrades to the interior of the GTR, the new spec GTR, really do take this car and put it into a place where I would very, very much consider owning one. The quality in here is beautiful. And the performance, I mean, you know, I won't be crude enough to talk about the various costs of the different options that have been put on this car, but it's not been a cheap upgrade, but worth every penny. It sounds unbelievable, and the performance is phenomenal. You really need to get it on a dry day in a nice piece of unrestricted airfield, really, to find out what this car can do. But I have to say a huge thanks to Paul. He sat just off camera to my left. He reached out to me and said, look, I'm picking up this new car, it's going to Litchfield, do you want to have a play? And I'm like, oh wow, absolutely. So massive thanks to him for letting me share this with you and trusting me to drive it on such a foul day. It really is a privilege to get to drive cars like this, so thank you very, very much to him. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have done so, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol. Plenty more content to come. I'm going to enjoy my last little bit of a trip back to Paul's in this absolutely stunning Nissan GTR Stage 4 Litchfield tuned monster. Anyway, I'll see you on the next film, guys. You take care. Drive safe.